Hey, awesome people. Mr. C back with you for another fractions video. Make sure if you learn anything new at all, click that like and subscribe button. Join us as we continue making math understandable and challenging. This video, we are going to be adding and subtracting fractions with unlike denominators using a standard strategy. This is going to be our review video. We are going to be doing problems for both adding and subtracting to really recap everything we've been learning over these past several weeks. All right. You will find in the description below all things that we've covered for fractions for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. Check those out. Parents, teachers, in the description below is also 2 IXL links. IXL is an incredible program I've used in my classroom. It's a great way for students to get independent practice, for them to see the growth in their learning and to track their progress, okay? One is for a free 7-day trial, and the other is for a 20% off your annual or monthly memberships. Check those out in the description below. Again, this video is going to be our review video for adding and subtracting fractions with unlike denominators. Let's do it, awesome people. Well, you see the first problem on the screen, but you know what I'm going to say before we even start. Make sure you have a growth mindset, okay? A growth mindset is what's so important when we're learning math, because it means that we know we're going to make mistakes. We're going to use those mistakes to help us get better. We're not going to just give up. We're going to stick with it and keep working and keep working and keep working. This is the review video, so we're going to go kind of quickly through these problems. If you're looking for the teaching videos, make sure you check out the 5th grade fractions playlist. Okay, so we're doing some adding here. First thing I noticed, denominators are 3 and 10. They're not the same. So because they're not the same, I'm going to list them out. Okay, we need to find a common denominator for the two. So there's 3, and here is 10. So let's find some multiples of each. 3, 6, 9, 12, 10, 20, 30, 40. Okay, let's see what we got. Do both of them have 3? Nope. 6? Nope. 9? Nope. 12? Nope. So I'm kind of thinking to myself here, that means I've got a few more I need to write down. I notice 10 and 20 and 30 and 40. I'm past 10 already, so I'm trying to see if we can get to 20. Let's see what happens. 16, nope. 20. Both of them have 20. There we go. That's going to be our common denominator. So when we're creating these equivalent fractions for 1/3 and for 5/10, the denominators that we're creating equivalent fractions is going to be 20. So there we go. Let's do it now. How does 3, whoa, oh my gosh, I just made a huge mistake. Do y'all see it? Do y'all see the mistake I just made? Oh man, that is why you have to slow down. Perfect example right here. 12, 16, that's 4, y'all. I made a mistake. 20 is not it because 16 isn't the next multiple. 16 is not the next multiple, right? The next multiple is 15, 18, 21, like that, okay? Boom, perfect example. Mr. C makes mistakes too. They both don't have 15. They both don't have 18. They both don't have 21. Dang, we got a long way to go. So here's 24, 27, 30. Let's see what we got. They both don't have 24. They both don't have 27. There we go. Whew, Mr. C finally found it. Man, that's a great example of making a mistake, finding that mistake, and fixing our mistake. All right. So the common denominator is 30. There we go. 3 times what gives us 30? Count the multiples. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 3 times 10 is 30. Multiply the denominator by 10. Do the same thing to the numerator. 1 times 10 equals 10. So we've got 10/30ths. Now let's do the same thing for our purple fraction. 10 times what gives me 30? 1, 2, 3. 10 times 3 is 30. Multiply the denominator by 3. Do the same thing to the numerator. Multiply it by 3. And we get 15. So we've got 10 over 30, 10 thirtieths, plus 15 thirtieths. Denominators are the same, so that means we should be able to add. 10 plus 15 is 25. Do not add the denominators. They stay as 30. And our final answer is 25 thirtieths. Perfect example of making a mistake, finding that mistake, and fixing that mistake. I make mistakes too. It's really important that we find them, learn from them, and move on. Okay? So there's our first problem. Answer is 25 thirtieths. Let's do another addition problem together. Second problem we have is 1/6 plus 5/8. And I'm looking at the denominators, and they are different. So because they are not the same, we need to find common denominators. So let's do it. Let's see if I can go mistake-free on this one, since I made a mistake on the last one. So we've got 6, 12, 18, 24. Again, I'm listing out the multiples of each denominator. 8, 16, 24, 32. So what number do they have in common? Let's find it. 6. Nope. What about 12? Whoops. See, I made a mistake there. I marked out the 8. I ain't trying to mark out the 8. I'm trying to mark out the 6. Second mistake. Find them, fix them, learn from them. All right. 12. Nope. 18. Nope. 24. Yes, there we go. They both have the multiple of 24 in common. That is the smallest number they have in common, the least common multiple. So we know that our common denominators are going to be 24 for both of our fractions. Now let's create some equivalent fractions here. 1/6 is going to have a denominator of 24. 6 times what? 1, 2, 3, 4 gives us 24. If I multiply the denominator by 4, I got to do the same thing to the numerator and multiply it by 4. And 1 times 4 gives me 4. On to 5/8. Let's create an equivalent fraction that has a denominator of 24. 8 times what? 1, 2, 3. Count the multiples. 8 times 3 is 24. Do the same thing to the numerator that you did to the denominator. What you do to the bottom, you do to the top. 5 times 3 gives us 15. So we've got 4 24ths plus 15 24ths. Check and see, are our denominators the same? They are. So we can add. Denominator stays the same. 4 plus 15 gives us 19. And our answer is 19 24ths. Again, slow down, see if you made a mistake, where are you getting stuck at, where are you getting lost. That is where we pick up at, all right? Just like I made a mistake over here by marking out the wrong number, it happens. Do not give up, stick with it. Our mistakes help us get better, okay? That was 2 addition problems. Now let's do 2 subtraction problems, okay? Let's do it. Let's do a subtraction problem. Subtraction problem on the screen. We've got 4/5 minus 1/2. And remember, once you know how to add fractions with unlike denominators, you know how to subtract them. It's literally the same exact thing. The only thing that's different is what the operation is. Instead of adding, we're now going to subtract. So I noticed the denominators aren't the same. So we're going to do the same thing that we were doing when we were adding. We're going to list out the denominators, and we're going to list out the multiples, and we're going to find a multiple they have in common. So here we go. 5, 10, 15, 20, 2, 4, 6, 8, Do they both have 5 in common? Nope. Do they both have 10? Nope. All right, so taking a look and seeing here that 2, 4, 6, 8, we're going to need a 10 because that's the next number they both have in common. So 10 is going to be our least common multiple, which tells us that our fractions are going to have denominators of 10. And now we need to create some equivalent fractions. Let's do it. 5 times what gives you 10? 5 times 1, 2. Multiply the denominator by 2. Do the same thing to the numerator. 4 times 2 gives you 8. Now let's do 1/2 and create an equivalent fraction. 2 times what gives you 10? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, I'm just counting the number of multiples. 2 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gives me 10. Multiply the numerator by the same number by 5. 1 times 5 gives us 5. So we've got 5/10. So we've got 8/10 minus 5/10. And let's see, the denominators are both 10, so we found common denominators, which are 10. We found equivalent fractions. For 4/5 was 8/10, and for 1/2 was 5/10. Now we can subtract. 8 minus 5 is 3, and 10 minus 10 is 0. We made a mistake there, right? Excuse me. We do not subtract the denominators. They stay the same. So our answer is 3/10. All right, that is our answer. Again, once you know how to add fractions with unlike denominators, being able to subtract is exactly the same thing. The only difference is at the end, instead of adding, you're subtracting. Okay? Sounds good? Let's do one more together. One more subtraction. Final problem on the screen, we've got 3/4 minus 2/3. Denominators are different. So let's write down the denominators and list out some multiples. There's 4, there's 3. List out some multiples by skip counting. 4, 8, 12, 16. 3, 6, 9, 12. Do they have a number in common? I'm not going to mark them out this time because you're probably getting to the point where you can see it. They both don't have a 4, they both don't have an 8, but they both have 12 in common. So that is our least common denominator, is 12. So both of these fractions are going to have denominators of 12. Now let's create some equivalent fractions. 4 times what gives you 12? 1, 2, 3. If you multiply the bottom by 3, you multiply the top by 3. So 3 times 3 is 9. 3/4 is equal to 9/12. We created equivalent fractions. Let's do the same thing for 2/3. Let's create an equivalent fraction that has a denominator of 12. 3 times what gives you 12? 1, 2, 3, 4. 3 times 4 is 12. Excuse me, multiply the numerator by the same thing you multiplied the denominator, which was 4. So 2 times 4 is 8. Let's rewrite it so it's easy to see. We've got 9/12 minus 8/12. The denominators are both 12. So now we can subtract. 9 minus 8 is 1. Denominators stay the same, and you get a final answer of 1/12. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. There is a review of everything we've covered with adding and subtracting fractions with unlike denominators. Both of these skills are very, very similar. Once you know how to subtract, you can add. Once you can add, you can subtract. The only thing that changes in this process is what you do at the very end. You're either going to add the fractions together or subtract them. Okay? Again, find where you're making your mistakes. Ask for some help. Reach out to me. My contact information is at the end of this video. The more we practice, the better we're going to get. Parents, teachers, I cannot recommend enough having students get on iExcel and practicing for 20 or 25 minutes a day. Do problems together. The more we practice, the better we're going to get. All right. If you learned anything new at all, click that like and subscribe button. Join us as we continue making math understandable and challenging. That's all I have for you. Mr. C.